It's incredibly rare, but even with the universal designated hitter rule in effect, we occasionally will see a pitcher come to bat. The pitcher will only be inserted in the lineup if the team moves its DH out of that position and onto the field. Typically, there's one of two reasons why that happens. Either A, a ton of substitutions were made, and the manager needs his DH to take the field, or B, the designated hitter needs to take over a position due to an injury. Bottom line, there is a very specific and rare need for this to occur. A pitcher will only bat if the team absolutely needs the DH to take the field. It's more or less a last resort. That is, with one noteworthy exception. What if I told you that there was a game where a team had to forfeit the DH, not due to dire straits, but simply due to a managerial gaffe? It sounds crazy, but it happened. It was 26 years ago this week, on July 22nd, 1999, that the Cleveland Indians hosted the Toronto Blue Jays. Business as usual for Cleveland in the 90s. They held the best record in Major League Baseball entering this game. The Blue Jays were only one game out of the wild card, needing every win they could get to remain in the playoff race. On the mound for the Indians was veteran starter Charles Nagy. In 18 starts, he was 11-5 with a 4.60 ERA. He made quick work of the Blue Jays in the first, however, as he induced a flyout and 2 groundouts for a 1-2-3 top half of the inning. The bottom half of the first is where everything unfolds. First off, on the mound for Toronto was starting pitcher David Wells. Through 20 starts so far entering this game, he was 10-6 with a 4.85 ERA. Before Wells could even throw a single pitch though, would a confrontation ensue on the field. Blue Jays manager Jim Fregrossi noticed something odd about the Indians lineup and met with the umpires to discuss it. The umpires in turn met together to talk over the situation at hand, but what exactly is going on here? What's going on is that the Indians violated MLB Rule 5.11 subsection A, paragraph 12. I'm going to go out on a whim and presume nobody watching can tell me what that rule states. It says, word for word, once a designated hitter assumes the position on defense, such move shall terminate the designated hitter role for that club for the remainder of the game. It's exactly what I mentioned earlier. Once the DH takes the field, the team forfeits that role. Wait a second though. It's the first inning, and Cleveland hasn't even come to bat yet. They've made 0 substitutions. How could they have violated this rule already? It has to do with the 2 players you see on screen right now, Manny Ramirez and Alex Ramirez. You might already see where this is going, but first off, Manny Ramirez needs no introduction. One of baseball's all-time great sluggers, you know him for his incredible hitting, as well as his, how should I say, interesting antics. Alex Ramirez you might not be too familiar with. His entire big league career spans 3 seasons, from 1998 to 2000, comprising 350 plate appearances across 135 games. He does have one of the greatest foreign baseball careers of all time, being inducted into the Japanese Baseball Hall of Fame, but that's a topic for another video. Anyway, at the time of this game, both Ramirez's were primary right fielders. That season, Manny played 145 games in right field, and Alex played 23 out of his 29 games in right. When Indians manager Mike Hargrove drew up the lineup card for this game, he originally had Manny as the designated hitter and Alex as the right fielder. However, it was Manny that went out to play right field in the first inning rather than Alex. How do I know both Ramirez's were penciled into those positions? It's exactly what was written on the lineup card in the Blue Jays dugout. It's hard to see, but next to Manny's name in the 4 spot, we can see the DH written out, and next to Alex's name in the 7 spot, there's a number 9 written, indicating right field. To visit the MLB rulebook once again, according to Rule 4.03, subsection D, once a manager presents the lineup card to an umpire, he cannot make any more changes to it. The lineup card in the Blue Jays dugout is what the umpires had, and so the Indians were in a bit of a dilemma because the wrong Ramirez went out to play right field. The consequence of this? Manny was allowed to stay in the game, but Alex wasn't. He was taken out, and Charles Nagy had to replace him in the lineup. To repeat again, the Cleveland Indians had to forfeit their DH and have the starting pitcher bat because Manny Ramirez went out to play right field rather than Alex Ramirez. You may think this is a classic case of Manny being Manny, as of course it's something he would do, but that's not the case. This is on the manager, Mike Hargrove. According to Hargrove himself, I wanted to give Manny a day off from playing the field, but Manny told me he wanted to play right field. After which, Hargrove ripped up the original lineup card, made a new one with Manny in right, and Alex as the DH. Hargrove then gave the card to third base coach Jeff Newman, who put it on the desk of first base coach Brian Graham. However, it was lost in translation that the two Ramirezes swapped positions. As Hargrove stated, I told Jeff to tell Brian to make the changes, but Jeff didn't know I'd already made out a new card with Manny in right and Alex as the DH. When Jeff told Brian to make the changes, he put Manny at DH and Alex in right. Graham said on the matter, "We obviously miscommunicated. I will accept responsibility. Personally, I'll chalk this up as both Graham and Hargrove's fault. Sure, Graham miswrote the positions on the new card, but Hargrove should have double-checked before it was given to the umpires. That's pretty much how it went down. At the last minute, Manny wanted to play right field, Hargrove had to create a new card, and one game of telephone later, the umpires received the outdated one. Of course, this put Nagy in a bizarre role. 1999 was his 10th season in Major League Baseball, spending his entire career on the Indians in the American League. Thanks to interleague play, he did have a few at-bats at the Major League level, where he went 1 for 14 with 9 strikeouts. Actually, that's not entirely accurate. During the 1992 All-Star Game, American League manager Tom Kelly used all of his batters and was forced to bat Nagy in the 8th inning. He was so unprepared, he had to use a Texas Rangers batting helmet, yet somehow defied all odds to get an infield single. Unofficially, his first big league hit, and the only time an American League pitcher got a hit in the All-Star Game during the designated hitter era. Thanks to Hargrove, Nagy became the first Indians pitcher to bat in an American League park in over 20 years at that point. Jim Kern was the last to do it in July of 1978. I'd also like to add the fact that Nagy was batting 7th in the lineup. It was the first time since 1968 that an American League starting pitcher batted that high in the lineup. Getting back to the game at hand, Nagy's first at-bat came in the bottom of the 2nd. He did foul off a few pitches, worked the count to 2-2, but Wells struck him out. In the 4th inning, Nagy attempted a sacrifice bunt, but fouled out on a great defensive play by the catcher, Darren Fletcher. Those two would be the only at-bats of the game for him. He was pinch hit for when his 3rd time to the plate was due. Make that 1 for 16 in his career. An unusual moment for Nagy. What did the pitcher himself have to say about this whole thing? I was as surprised as anybody. I had no idea what was going on. I still don't really know what happened. Honestly, I don't blame him. His opponent, David Wells, also commented on the matter, saying, "I was absolutely surprised. I thought Mike was trying to throw me a curveball. He's pretty crafty over there. Charlie made me throw him a stinking sinker to get him out in that first at-bat." Speaking of the two starters, I haven't even talked about their performances yet. Wells picked up the victory, throwing 5 innings and allowing 5 hits, 2 runs, 3 walks, and struck out 6. Nagy took the loss as he threw 6 innings, allowing 7 hits, 4 runs, no walks, and struck out 4. Toronto won the ballgame by a score of 4-3. As for both teams, the Indians unsurprisingly finished the season in first place, while the Blue Jays slumped in September to finish 10 games out of the wild card. As for Charles Nagy, thanks to one more interleague game and a brief stop in San Diego, he would come to the plate 4 more times in his career. He collected one more hit to finish his career 2 for 19. Not the best line, but thanks to a manager's gaffe some 26 years ago, he holds the distinction of being in the starting lineup as an American League pitcher.